Hey, I'm Vicky from the Friday Hip Hop Report, and we are talking about whether Chipmunk is better off independent.
Him being independent is not a bad thing. America is a massive thing for him, and he really wants to conquer that. Tinie Tempah's out there and absolutely smashing it. I see Chip as being slightly where Tinie Tempah is in a sense. I know he'd be making a different type of music and stuff here, but he's so lyrically talented, he could be up there with the best of them and spitting with them. However, I do feel for him to be able to get to that stage, he needs a massive machine behind him. I don't feel he can do it independently.
If you as a UK artist are trying to go to the States to try and break out there, you need a big label to push you. You need it to go across all the channels. It's such a big space for Chipmunk to go out there and do it on his own. I think that would be a bit of an uphill battle.
Making the comparisons with Tinie Tempah, I've really got to disagree, and I'm going to get hate for this, I know I will. Tinie Tempah doesn't have rap fans in the States at all. Tinie Tempah sold 1 million copies of the Written in the Stars track. They got behind that. I think it was on a wrestling soundtrack or whatever. Because of the music Tinie Tempah makes, I don't think rap fans will be interested. He's just pop in America, and that's not a diss to Tinie, because as far as I know, I don't know Tinie, that may be what he's trying to achieve.
I actually think that they both went in opposite directions. Chip went from being very mainstream, going back to, I guess, the music that he'd always wanted to make, whereas Tinie went more mainstream and became more desirable for the American market.
I don't want to get into artist bashing because I'm not trying to take anything away from these artists. There's not many people who've cracked the mainstream who generally have the ability to be taken seriously on a global scale as a genuine rapper. I really think Wretch, Chip and Pro Green are the only people who could actually be taken seriously as credible rappers. I think Chipmunk knows that he can essentially be someone who's taken seriously as a hip-hop artist in the States, and I think that's where his aim is.
I think Chipmunk's a better rapper than Tinie Tempah by a long fucking mile. But Tinie Tempah's just got a different swag. I know you fucking hate that word, some of you do anyway, I'll probably do as well, but hey, more appealing to the general mainstream public. Yeah, I think Chipmunk's a better rapper, and I think he has the potential to be just as big, but I think we should just stop trying to compare people. I don't want to hate on Tinie Tempah because he's doing his thing, and people that like him buy his shit. Simple, man. Damn.
I know the crowd in the States. As a hip-hop artist, he is not relevant to them.
I don't mean that he would be the same type of artist as him. I'm just saying the equivalent in terms of the success.
You can see by the music that he's making, Chipmunk is more after that respect as a genuine artist and as a hip-hop artist.
When I was talking about Tinie Tempah, the two equivalents, I didn't mean Chipmunk being a Tinie Tempah. I just meant him being in the States and being respected. Simple.
If it's true what Chucky's saying about he's trying to break the States, I get the notion that he's trying to keep it real for you to respect his artistry. How can you go about things that way? Like trying to break the States, which you need a whole mechanical fucking operation behind it.
I think he can do both, and I think he wants to do both, and I think he's realised that that's a very hard thing to do. We'll see where it goes, but it seems like a bit of a feat to me.
The point you made about him wanting to go to America, and I agree with you, said that he should kind of stayed within the same lane as Oopsie Daisy. Do you think he would have busted?
They talk about Oopsie Daisy, but there was some real hard stuff on there as well. I think he got the balance completely right.
You got to remember as well, though, Chipmunk fans from when he was, what, 16, 17, when his first album came out, they've grown up. They're not 16, 17
and
anymore.
So is he as well.
And he's grown up. To go from 16 to 20, you grow so much in those 4 years, as opposed to being 24 to 28, you're essentially going from a boy to a man. It's understandable that you're going to want to reinvent yourself as a brand and as an artist.
The only reason why I feel that the project that he did at the moment didn't work so well is because he didn't get that happy medium that he got with his first album. I think he felt to himself, oh, I don't want to make it Oopsie Daisy again now because everybody's talking, I can't spit and I can't do this. He might disagree, but I feel like he more made the album for himself and haters as opposed to his fans that went out and bought his music the first time.
Fair enough for him to make that transition. If that's who he wants to be and that's the music he wants to make, you've got to expect that sort of drop in sales, because when you make music, you don't just make it for the essence of artistry. You make it because it's got to be received, and if you basically cast one audience to one side without having time to adopt another one, there's gonna be a massive dip in your income.
From what he says in his music, I'm going to assume that he understands the fame and he's had the fame. He now wants to make money. Going the independent route at his stature, he's more likely to get a bigger check.
I don't think that Chipmunk has left the label because it's a money situation. He's young, he's got loads of money. He'll continue to make loads of money as well. Yes, you will make more money doing things independently, but I think he just wants to do things by himself.
And I don't think that he reached the level of fame that he wanted to be at and thought that's it, because I really do think he wants to break the States. And if he wants to do that, reinventing himself is potentially a contradictory move. But I think he can do both.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's taken a step away from the major label world to rebrand himself.
man.
Once he's established that fan base again, he could get picked up.
If it's a situation where he's gone to the independents for him to reinvent himself, because that's what it looks like he's doing. There's a lot of stuff that he's done in the past that he made personally, he liked at the time, but he's in a different space now. So he's saying to himself, all right, cool, I'm gonna be on an independent, and then later on being able to sign to a major. I do feel.
Was he allowed?
I think he was given a lot.
But clearly he wasn't, because the kind of things that he was saying, it didn't look like he was in
That's
The problem is that people have this perception that if you're on a major, you can never do anything else. It's just almost as if like you're on a mantelpiece now and you have to stay there. I don't see the problem with going back to the drawing board, doing the shit that you love to make, and just seeing how things flow again.
Sometimes with big major labels, it can be a case, depending on what your contract is like, you can feel quite stifled and you can't do this and you can't do that because of all the politics. I think people should stop second guessing him and let him get on with whatever it is that he feels that he needs to get on with.
There's times when you're like doing your thing, you're on it up, and you get to a point where you make bad decisions. Like everyone makes bad decisions, isn't it? That's part of the fucking learning process. Is there anything wrong with him deciding, you know what, I need to take a chill on that major label thing? How about if I make the tracks I want to make to reinstall faith in my fans again, to let them know, like, yo, you know what, I am about my music, I can make some fucking dope shit.
I do feel like Chipmunk is 3 minutes away from making a song that could be internationally massive. The Champion could have been that tune, but I think that's just the problem with that label, innit? We don't know what happened behind the scenes.
People have like a 2-second attention span. If you ain't hot or you're not rebranding yourself or people don't get you, you have to go back to the
If he's made, the label didn't push his music as much as they could have done. He done a lot of that stuff through his Twitter, so he should. However, if he was at a different label situation, it would have been huge, and that would have been his ticket to go over there and to do even more stuff than he's doing now.
When you're independent, you're doing everything yourself. Being part of a major label, you've got a massive team behind you, all different departments and stuff that can help him go to that next level.
Are you saying that Champion not blowing up is due to the label? I want to know why you have that standpoint.
The single did very well, so as a label, it is kind of their duty to kind of capitalise on that.
The album came out how much later? They dropped the ball on that.
Snips got very passionate about the idea that the label were completely to blame. There was such a huge gap between his single and his album. Huge marketing fail. But by the same token, the fact that he had transitioned means that he lost a lot of fans, people who buy his records, and it didn't sell.
Oh, you know, maybe he just didn't make music that appealed. He had a #2 single. How they couldn't sell the album off the back of that is beyond me. That album had hits. Kerry Hilson on there, you had Movado on there. The Champion record was massive. The label leaked that Champion record how long before the album came out?
I think they very much kind of pushed the fact that Chris Brown was on it, so that was the only thing that they used. They didn't do their PR, they didn't do their marketing on the follow-up record. I think they kind of just left it to do its thing, and luckily for Chipmunk, it actually did well.
I'm not taking away anything from that. Champion was a hit. The Trey Songz track, to me, was a big song. Was it an international song? I don't think so. Even the Movado song, even though I love that song, in this country, when you talk about a song like that, that is so niche, bro.
To say it was just based on the features for me is, even though I can understand that argument, to say that's why the album didn't do so well, I think is a bit weak.
Even though Champion was a massive song, and I do think that the label didn't support it as much as they could have done, I think that he should have had at least another 2 or 3 of them songs on the album.
The song with Kerry Hilson and Trey Songz and stuff were good songs, I like them. They weren't huge songs though. And the song with Movado that everybody keeps talking about is a club banger. I play it up and down the country, all over the place. But the album that he had before, he still had the feature with Young Spray, he still talked about issues with his family and stuff. He got it completely right.
I don't think it was commercial enough.
Yeah.
You can't have Movado, Kerry Hilson, they don't really sell to the majority of the UK
Do you think
public.
that he feels that he has too much of a stigma attached to him here in the UK, and that's why the status
You know
of the
what?
players?
For me with artists here, I think they need to focus on what they really want to do. There shouldn't be too much thought in terms of like, how do I go about doing it? The result might have not been to what he would like. Shit happens, move on. Try and pick up the pieces and get back on top, you know?
There's an element of naivety in that, because if life was as simple as, well, if I just rap well, people are going to recognize me for rapping well. It doesn't work like that. People are brainwashed.
When you're trying to please everyone, then you got a fucking problem.
Teeth has definitely got more faith in the general buying public than what I do. I honestly believe music is sold based on how it's packaged to the public.
There's too much of like thinking people are stupid. Like sometimes you have,
They
like,
are.
look, it got to #2. Cool. Maybe not everyone that you thought fucking was gonna feel it felt it. Sometimes might have to see it as that.
There's a lot of music where the quality levels and the actual appeal of the music is 50 times less than that of the last Chipmunk album, yet was pushed and the machine was was behind it, and it sold hundreds of thousands of records.
Do you think that the album sales, which were only 15,000, do you think that reflects the quality of the record?
People that know me will tell you, I am a hip-hop guy, innit? A lot of the quote-unquote popular urban artists, I can't stand them. That Transition album was the most well-rounded quality body of work that I've heard from a UK rapper.
Yeah.
There was no way that album not selling was a reflection of the quality of the album.
Me and you both understand that album, but that kid in Scunthorpe don't. And those are the kids that go out and buy these records.
If Chipmunk had a bag of die-hard fans that would just kind of follow him through his journey because they just like him as an entity, then I think it'll be a different scenario. But it obviously shows that he's got fickled fans.
5 years ago, that kid in Scunthorpe didn't understand anything about urban London. They're gradually learning more, so possibly that album was a little bit too early for them. Give it a couple more years and they might get it. We could be talking about faking YouTube views, or this could be something as simple as your imagery. Rappers that are still making less than $1,000 a month, buying Gucci and Louis and trying to look the part.
The mentality of a dude, like, put your head down, take that shit. That's what I'm saying.